I just posted the cutest pictures of Noodle. I'm not really sure what he's doing awake right now, but it's really cute. Hopefully my little fountain in the back for Chet right here is not too loud. I did just turn off my air purifier in here as well, so hopefully y'all can hear me all right. It's been a while since I put up a video. Just to give you a quick rundown, if you didn't know, because you're only subscribed to this channel, or maybe you didn't know that I had another channel, I have a channel where I vlog. I do pregnancy stuff now. I'm actually pregnant. I'm 24 weeks pregnant tomorrow. So I have been uploading on that channel twice a week, as well as my podcast. So I'll link all that for you below if you've never heard of it, you didn't know, or this is the first time you've ever seen my face in general and you're interested or curious. So I'll leave that for you guys, but it's been a while, dude. Like, I have just been super busy with life and with my animals, and that all comes first. So unfortunately, I haven't had a lot of time to get creative over on this channel and like do any cage builds, but I do have about 6 up my sleeve that I would like to work on soon. Sailor has decided to explore the cage. She might be making a little bit of noise. If we're lucky, we'll get to hear her fart in her water while she poops, which is just one of my favorites. So yeah, I'm pregnant and I've been very busy with that. We're also remodeling our house. And so there's been a lot going on. I have also, unfortunately, had my slew of sick animals recently, which has not been fun or cheap or easy on my emotions. I even had a dog that I saw got hit on the highway, and I reversed my car at like 50 miles an hour. If you follow me on Instagram and watch my stories on either Instagram, whether it's my animal one or my other one, you probably saw this, and I paid for the animal's vet bill, and unfortunately she ended up passing away. So I've just had a lot going on. So anyways, now that's out of the way. I wanted to make this video for a few different reasons. A long time ago when I started my channel, I thought I would make videos for every animal, you know, like I had an animal pass, and I was like, you know what, I really want to do like a memorial video where I can recognize the animal, and honestly, they're too hard for me to do, which is why I don't do them. So as much as I wish I could make a very pretty montage of Lucy today and talk to you about all that, I can't, because I'll just sit here and cry. Actually, that's one reason why I've waited a couple weeks to film this video. My bearded dragon Lucy passed away. Okay, don't cry. A little after Christmas. Okay, I swore I wasn't gonna cry. I thought I had cried all I could cry for the time being, because it's been a lot, but okay, I think I got myself together. The point of this video is not to cry or be emotional. The point of this video is to help anyone, maybe if they are confused about what to do because their bearded dragon is egg bound. So I thought by kind of talking about my experience with it so far, and also talking to you guys about my regrets with the situation, I might be able to shed some light and help you make a better decision for you and for your animal. Having animals, there's always learning. It never stops, right? We don't know everything about all the animals that we've decided to put in cages and keep as pets. A lot of bearded dragons these days are actually, I just learned this recently, I didn't know this, but they are inbred because it is illegal to import bearded dragons from their native country of Australia, so they're getting inbred and having liver issues which you can't treat, etc. However, today's video is about Lucy, my bearded dragon, who is egg bound. So I rescue a lot of my animals, and they come from not so great situations, and with that comes the responsibility and the heartache sometimes of losing them early because they unfortunately had a really rough go and didn't have the proper lighting, UVB, heating, diet, all of these sorts of things, husbandry, and all of these play a really big role in the health of your animals. And it's not easy to manage animals. It's not easy to provide them what they need. And we are providing the bare minimum. Like, we snatched them out of the wild, and here we are like assholes keeping them as pets. So anyways, I got Lucy around probably about 4 years ago, and she was around 1.5 when I got her, I was told. She was in a very, very dirty cage with no heating, no UVB. There was rotting lettuce all around her in the cage. There were fast food lids all over the cage as if that's what they were using as a feeding dish. She like hadn't seen like water or crickets or dubia roaches or anything like that. So I brought Lucy in, and you know, one of my very first animals as a child was a bearded dragon. And so I kind of just was like, I don't really need a bearded dragon, but like this one kind of fell into my lap and I want to give her a better life. So I did just that. And when I was living in Nashville, I started noticing that there was a lot of like digging going on where she would be glass surfing, and I would provide her a lay box. She was in a 6-foot enclosure in Nashville, and I couldn't really fit the size in her cage that I needed to get in there, which just sucks, but it is what it is. And so I gave her time to lay. She wouldn't lay, and so I kind of like wonder how long she had been egg bound, but I started to notice signs of like her just not eating quite as much, just the very slightest difference. And so in Nashville, I took her to my vet, who I loved. He is a great exotics vet, and his recommendation for me after doing x-rays and blood work was to give her extra calcium to help her probably lay these eggs and help her while she's creating them, whatever. And so when he did the x-rays, because I can't really remember, these were kind of different appointments, he basically told me that she's egg bound, and you know, unfortunately, unfortunately bearded dragons don't typically survive this surgery, and it's expensive, it's invasive, and if she's, you know, doing pretty well, then why the need to do it and spend $500 to $1,500 on a surgery and possibly lose her in the process if her quality of life is great? So her eating kind of returned to normal and everything was good. And he even did some like enema things on her before we did the x-rays to make sure there wasn't like a blockage or anything like that. And everything seemed to be fine. She came back home, ate, drank, soaked, pooped, all that was normal. One thing you'll also find, I'm pregnant. Because I'm pregnant, I lose my breath very fast. So if you see me huffing and puffing, that's why my back also hurts. So fast forward to about 3 months ago here in California, where I had moved her, and I noticed that she was not really using her back legs anymore, and she was kind of dragging them. And so I got her into the vet as soon as I noticed this happening. I watched it for about a week and I was like, okay, this isn't getting any better. I tested everything in her enclosure, everything was good. So I took her to the vet, and I went to a vet in San Diego called Rancho Penasquitos Animal Hospital, which is like supposedly one of the best exotic vets in San Diego. There are literally none near me, so I'm always having to drive about an hour, which is fine. So I showed up there, and little did I know that I was actually seeing the vet who knew like the least amount about exotics there. I didn't know that. Had I known that, I would have waited for the other vet. I just kind of assumed, you know, when they answered the phone and I told them what was going on, they would put me with the vet that would be suited best for the job. So I go in and I tell him all the history and the x-rays and all of this stuff from before, and he seems to think that she still needs to lay her eggs, and I'm thinking to myself, it's literally been like a year and a half. Like, she's not gonna lay these, but he's the vet, not me. So like, okay. And then he sends me home with calcium, which I gave to her every single day. He also did x-rays and says that he saw something in her abdomen. He wasn't sure if it was maybe sand. There's no sand in her enclosure. I also never feed her in her enclosure. So the fact that he didn't know whether it was eggs or sand was very bizarre to me. They're very different shapes and sizes, and there are a cluster of eggs as opposed to like a granule. So I thought that was a little weird. Brought her back. She had some twitching going on she was doing, and he kind of tested her at that appointment, I guess I should say, to make sure that she still had like her like motor skills, I guess. Like she still had control over her legs. She wasn't paralyzed or anything like that. And you know, he said, oh, maybe, you know, she needs more calcium, which is why we gave her more calcium. So then fast forward about 2.5 months or so, as I'm still doing my calcium and nothing's getting better and it's progressively getting worse and worse. And I'm like, okay, this isn't great. And in hindsight, I wish I would have taken her a little sooner. I just kind of trusted what was being told to me by the vet. And I was like, okay, now I'm noticing this not getting better, and it's not even just staying stable, it's getting worse. So I scheduled another appointment with Dr. Boyer there. And he's like the guy, the exotics guy. So I bring her in and he tests like her toes and is like pinching them to make sure that they work. They do. He does another x-ray and I basically tell him like she's egg bound and like I'd like to have this surgery done. Like her quality of life has gone way downhill. She just lays around, she doesn't really do much, and now she's not really eating much. She's very picky, she'll eat maybe a superworm here and there. That's all she wants to do. Her life is very boring, and I feel bad for her. She doesn't do anything, she just lays there. And what kind of life is that for anybody or anything? So he does x-rays and does blood work, and while we're waiting for this blood work to come back, he basically tells me he doesn't think that she's a candidate for surgery right now. And based on her, how like lethargic she was and just not really moving around much. And he tells me that she most likely won't survive at this point because of how like she's acting. He also mentions to me, have you ever heard of like adenovirus? He called it adenovirus, but I think it's adenovirus, A-D-E-N-O. And he's wondering if maybe this is the reason why she's kind of twitching and having these like little like twitches and like tremors and whatever. And he says that it's a virus in their brain, and when a bearded dragon gets this virus, they will kind of stop eating. Their quality of life can decline rapidly. Sometimes it takes longer. So he says, I recommend getting this tested because if she's positive for this, then there's really no point in doing the surgery, in my opinion, because her quality of life is going to decline, and at that point we look at euthanization. So I'm like, all right. So he had called me and told me about this adenovirus a few days later. So I drive her an hour all the way back and have her cloaca swabbed for this test. That's how they do it. And I'm told it's going to take about 7 days to come in. I also get the blood results back, and he tells me that she's fighting an infection and that her white blood cell count is very high. So he gives me antibiotics that are injectables and shows me how to do those. And at this point, I am like willing to do anything it takes to make my lizard better. Like watching her decline was really hard. So I basically am still waiting for the adenovirus results, and I didn't really know what the antibiotics were supposed to do. I wasn't sure. I should have asked more questions too, but I feel like I should have also been told this. Apparently the goal of these antibiotics was to make her better so that she could go into surgery and have the eggs removed, because his thought was that one of the eggs maybe had ruptured and was causing her to go septic from the inside out and basically rotting in her stomach. So I pack Lucy up and I take her to my family Christmas in Arizona, and I have a heat pad for her and she's all set up, and she's just getting worse and worse by the day. Her color is awful, and at this point I kind of didn't want to admit it to myself, but I knew there was no hope. I knew that there was nothing that was going to bring her back from this unless magically, after already starting the antibiotics, she was going to respond better randomly, but I didn't give up. I continued to give her her antibiotics every other day. In my opinion, I think it should have been every single day, but I did what I could do, and I finally called the vet office back and I'm like, hey, like, are those virus results in? It's been a week, like, I need to know. And I even called a little earlier because I was just so anxious to get this surgery on the schedule, because I felt like this was the only hope. Like, I will pay the $500 to $1,500 for this surgery if it works, and it's her only chance. So I'm gonna do that. And so they call me back, and it's a female doctor from the office who's new there, I guess, and she basically tells me that she is, by the way, I will mention this is an important piece of information, but I was told by the vet when he came back with those blood results that we needed to get her into surgery immediately, and I took that as, that's her only hope. We have to get this rotting stuff out of her body. Otherwise, it's going to kill her no matter what, so we might as well try the surgery, and that was kind of my thought too. I was like, she's gonna pass away one way or the other. We might as well try this, you know, and try to fix her and make her better. So anyways, this female doctor calls me and tells me that she's negative for adenovirus and doesn't have it. And I'm like, whew. But at this point, she's not gonna make it more than a few more days. Like, I can just tell. I can just tell how horrible she's doing. She's not eating. She only ate a couple mealworms when we were there. Not touching any salads, not pooping. You know, it wasn't good. And then she started spitting up like this, what looked like old blood. It started about 3 days before she passed away and would kind of be on the towel around her mouth. And so she was like spitting up this, what I think was blood. And so, you know, when the doctor calls me and tells me that she's negative, this female doctor is like, oh, let me get you scheduled for the surgery. And I'm like, great, let's get this done. She tells me that the soonest surgery she has is in a week. And I'm like, she's not gonna make it a week. Like, please, is there anything, like, is there any, I hate to like make someone's appointment less important than mine, but this is definitely life-threatening for my animal. And if there's any appointments that you have that you could please move around that are not life-threatening, or for a sick animal, maybe just a checkup or something, like, I don't know, like, work your magic, please let me know. She tells me she'll call me back. She doesn't. So I call back the next day, and they put Dr. Boyer on the phone, who's the one that told me the results of the test, the blood test. He gets on the phone, and I can tell he doesn't remember who I am at all. And this video is not a complaint about that office. You can go see my review on their Yelp page if you wish. I put the entire thing there. Anyways, he basically tells me that from what I'm saying to him about her state, that she does not seem to be a candidate for surgery. And I was like, yes, we know that, but we saw the blood results and you literally told me that we needed to get this done as soon as possible. So I was very happy with that, because I would rather her go out trying to get better and us trying to heal her than just letting her sit here and die. So he just keeps repeating to me that, and I reminded him of our conversation, and he basically told me literally that he sees so many animals that he can't really remember. And I was just blown away. I had spent close to $2,000 at this point on Lucy at his practice, and I'm being told that he didn't have a moment to read notes or remember who I was or my situation or what he had talked to me about, because he sees so many people. So immediately I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna get a review online. This is not how you treat a customer. It doesn't matter what it's about, let alone it being about one of my family members, Lucy, who is very important to me. So he tells me, oh, I'll schedule an appointment for you to come in on Monday. And it was like Thursday or Friday at this point. And I'm thinking to myself, well, you just told me on the phone that you're not gonna be able to do the surgery based on her state that I've told you, so I'm not really too sure what this is going to do, but sure, make me the appointment. So he makes the appointment for the 7th. I think I'm sorry, it's supposed to be like the 3rd. The 3rd is when he was supposed to make it. So I get home and I'm holding Lucy all the way back from this road trip. And because of the holidays, because of Christmas and New Year's and the weekend, everywhere was closed. And my animal is like slowly slipping away. And it's just getting sadder and sadder to see. It just was heartbreaking. And I felt like she was probably suffering, you know, and there was nothing I could do about it. So I tried to give her as much love as possible and make her comfortable. So I got home and unfortunately Lucy passed away. And then a week later I get a notice about my appointment at this vet hospital. So he made the appointment on the wrong day. So I was supposed to be seeing him on the 3rd. And with what was going on, I completely forgot about it and forgot to cancel. And then I get a notice a week later that he's made the appointment and it's on the wrong day. In short, basically what I wanted to impart is what I wish I would have done. Like, hindsight is 20/20, and experiencing what I just experienced, because I never have had a bearded dragon that's been egg bound, and I haven't had a bearded dragon in general since I was a little girl. But if I could go back and do it again, I would have gotten her the surgery like a year and a half ago and fixed the issue before it even became a situation where she was just in pain and like obviously not having a good time. And I just, like, I didn't know. I mean, I guess it makes sense thinking about it now, but it didn't occur to me that by the time I started seeing her like quality of life decline, that it would be too late to have the surgery. When my vet in Tennessee told me I don't recommend doing it because a lot of beardies don't survive it, it didn't occur to me that I couldn't have the surgery when I saw the signs. Do you know what I mean? So to have been told that it would have been fine, and then I waited, and then it wasn't fine as soon as you noticed her visibly not doing so great, that I couldn't have it anymore, it just sucks. Because if I could go back, I would have gone against what my doctor had told me, or what Lucy's doctor had told me to do, and what he recommended, and I would have just paid to have the surgery done, because I think she'd still be here today if I had done that. And it's really hard to not like just blame yourself for stuff like that when things like that happen to your animal. And it sucks that I had to learn that the hard way, which is the reason why I made this video, because I would like to inspire you if you're going through a bearded dragon who's declining in health. If you can figure out how to afford it, get a credit card, whatever, get quotes, but get it done for your animal, for the sake of your animal, because at one point they're going to die from those eggs being inside their body and just rotting. It's not going to be pleasant, and it's not going to be fun for you or for them, and you're gonna end up paying a bunch of money anyway. So I highly recommend just doing the surgery and taking your chances, because I mean, obviously after you give them an ample amount of time to lay their eggs and it's not happening, I also highly recommend figuring out a dig box, whether it's as deep as it needs to be, or it's what you can fit in the cage. Put it in there, keep it moist, give them the option. I finally did that here in California, but it was too late. She was not laying these eggs, like they were very old. So that's what I wanted to say. And if you have any experiences of your own in this department and have any wisdom to drop in the comments, please do, because I'm sure people with bearded dragons would love to hear what you have to say and read your, you know, experiences and stuff. And I hope this video helps inspire you to make a different choice than I did, because I wish I had. And now, unfortunately, it's too late. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will be back soon with videos. It kind of might be a little sporadic as much as I'd like to keep on a schedule. I don't see a schedule getting any easier for me. As much as I'd love to upload on a schedule, it creates a lot of stress for me with my other channel, so I think I'll probably just be uploading sporadically. So with that being said, turn on notifications so that you will be notified when I do upload a video, if that's something that you give a shit about. So anyways, sorry for the kind of sad video. I wasn't intending to get emotional, but when it comes to my animals, or any animal, honestly, it never fails. If it's a sad situation, I have a really big heart for animals and I just can't handle it. So, thank you all for watching, and if you're excited to see this video on my channel and want to see more, give me a thumbs up, and we will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.